Oh, MAGA, I've been waiting for the truth to come out, and it just did. And it is sweeter than I ever could have thought it could have been. So I know you guys were sitting over there worshiping your orange Cheeto Jesus, and you were like, oh yeah, it was all technique. It was the art of the deal. And then, he did this and then he did that. Okay, so now it's coming out why he actually put a pause on the tariffs. And y'all, if you're a Democrat or a liberal, go get yourself a beverage. It's Friday, because this is like so good. So Mark Carney, who has a lifetime of experience in banking, he's the one that just replaced Trudeau in Canada. So apparently, he's been going around quietly buying up U.S. bonds. Now, if you're not familiar with how bonds work, go watch the video that I did this morning. I explained how I explained it to my children. It's super easy to understand, okay? But the short version is, all right, let's say that you want to build a house, okay? You need $10, but you don't have $10. So you sell an IOU, right? So that's what a bond is. You sell an IOU. That's what the government does. And they say, hey, we'll pay you back, but we'll pay you back with interest, right? And interest is also called yield. So the whole world buys our bonds, right? Our treasury bonds, including tons of people and banks in the United States, but they're considered to be a very safe investment, right? Because America was considered to be such a stable place to park your money. Well, that was pre-Trump, because now there's a freaking petulant child at the wheel and everybody's like, whoa, hold up, no. So I love the strategy here, okay? So Carney, again, the Canadian guy, he's like, we're not going to mess with like doing more tariffs and all the rest of that. We're literally just going to tank their economy if he keeps playing. So what Carney did, going around buying up U.S. Treasury bonds to the tune of $350 billion. But wait, it gets better than that. He goes to the EU and Japan. So, and like Germany, France, Netherlands, et cetera, and they all make this plan together like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. So here's what they decided to do. Start selling off the bonds, right? Well, why does that matter? U.S. is in debt to everybody, so I should lead with that. Japan owns $1 trillion, Canada $350 billion, go right on down the list. The EU owns like 1 point something trillion, basically in debt to everybody. The reason why we get such low interest rates on all of our debt is because we were considered to be a reliable place, right? A reliable partner who would pay their money back. Well, when you're not reliable, then guess what? Now you have to pay more yield, higher interest, right? Because let's say that $10 that we were talking about, if I think you're going to pay it back, I'm going to say, oh yeah, here, you can have it, and then just give me like $1 in interest. But if I think you're a risky bet, then I'm going to say, oh yeah, you have to give me $5 in interest for that same $10. Basically, their plan was, look, we'll just do a slow bleed. We'll just start selling off these bonds, okay? This is so genius. So they start selling off the bonds, right? What happens? You're telling the world, oh, the US dollar isn't worth shit anymore. The problem, because the US we use those bonds to fund things like Social Security, the military, all kinds of things. We can't afford, right? Because we don't collect as much in income tax as the government spends. So treasury bonds are really important, and low interest is super, super important when you're carrying the kind of debt that the United States is, which is, I believe, currently $34 trillion. That cheap interest, right, that keeps the U.S. economy rolling along. But when these other countries said, hey, we're just going to dump the bonds and let's use the Trump terminology, flood the zone, then you have way more supply and not as much demand. Well, guess what happens now? Prices fall. Interest rates spike. Because when the bond prices go down, the yield, the interest that you're offering to pay other people has to go up to make it an attractive investment. When this happens, borrowing becomes for the United States and for people in the United States becomes very, very expensive, right? Because now you're paying, let's say, about $5 in interest as opposed to that $1 in interest. And that $34 trillion in debt becomes impossible to manage. Start dumping bonds, the dollar's value goes down, spending dries up, government cuts back on borrowing, people cut back on borrowing, because it affects consumers too, right? Car loans, mortgage, credit cards, etc., interest rates. That means fewer jobs, all the things. If you go back and you look, just MAGA, to prove to yourself that what I'm saying is true, you go back and you look at the bond, okay? And that's why. I just had to only explain to people why he paused the tariffs, because it really didn't make sense. I knew there was a reasoning. I knew it wasn't that he was a genius, because we're talking about Trump. This is what happens when you have an idiot, a child like Trump, who tries to play with the big boys who understand these kinds of things, who are actually qualified to lead their countries. This is exactly what happens. You get your ass spanked on the international stage. Anyway, just thought I'd share. Happy Friday. Fucking enjoy that one. Watch it on loop. Share it with a friend.